Hi, my name is Alan Chippindale. I wanted to put just a couple of minute video together for you so you can get a sense of my style, my approach, and whether we can bring some value to each other. Most of you, I know, we've had communications in the past. At a minimum, we've given permission to communicate with each other on LinkedIn. You know, my background per my LinkedIn profile below is detailed out on that LinkedIn profile. Basically decades, working with a major multi-billion-dollar company, Moore Corporation, a blue chip company, a leading sales organization in both sales and sales management, helping to establish and build Performa as president for 18 years, and then moving over and building and transitioning my own business, and then working with a group of people to build Brand Alliance. But what I want to do here, I reference above the business that I've started here recently, designed to work with and help sales professionals like yourself understand the different options that are in the industry. Up above, there's a quote talking about excelling yourself, where I know all of us challenge ourselves probably most every day on whether we're getting where we want to go and whether we're within an environment that can enable that. And I also have the sign about the old and the new life. And by no means there am I referencing that the current life is not a good life. That's more a statement that I think we all know life is changing. The way business is done is changing. The way this industry is operating is changing. The way people are being marketed to, the way they're making decisions, the impact of the internet. There's a variety of things that are changing whether we like it or not. So there is an old, there is a new. There's no such thing as things staying constant. And I want to start off by saying that my ultimate desired method of considering to do business with each other is that we would invest some time in putting together an alternatives review. I think it's healthy for all of us to take a step back, to slow down, to take, if you will, measurement of where we're at, where we want to go, and whether the resources and the environment we have around us will get us there. Next, I want to briefly touch upon my approach. I think as human beings, we go through a process of awareness, consideration, and decision on virtually everything that we do. And so my desire is that by getting to know me, by making your own judgment as to whether there's any potential value in a relationship with me, and if so, becoming better understanding of the different alternative support models and compensation plans and career paths for sales professionals is all part of the awareness. And the more details you have on that, the more that you can approach it with intelligent consideration. And then it reaches the point of decision. And I think quite often when people are being approached to look into new things, there's a catch-22, and I think unnecessarily. And I think that we put pressure on ourselves that we don't want to look into it because we're not ready to make a decision. Whereas in my experience and what I've done for decades, it's not about putting pressure on ourselves to make a decision. It's about the awareness and the consideration. And then, if and when, either proactively or reactively, conditions are placed upon us that we need to make a decision, we're prepared for it and we're well informed. Next, I want to touch briefly with you on the three alternatives for sales professionals in our industry. And it's quite exciting for me to be in a position where I'm really not trying to sell or steer anybody in a specific direction like I've done in the past, where I've been representing one business model. By being in a position in my own business of representing all the business models and really focusing in on understanding you and where you want to go, it puts me in a position to not sell, but to learn and to help. But to give you an overview, starting at the top, there's the opportunity to get into your own business. Today it's no secrets. I'm back representing Perform in that capacity, which gives people the ability to get into their own business with the resources of a $500 million company and reducing a lot of the risk and overhead associated with it. There's a very common model of independent contractors, which works well for a lot of the different groups that are out there that has kind of a medium level of independence. And then you have the employee. And the employee is not a bad thing, and it's not necessarily a good thing. It's the employee is, for many, a perceived more stable environment. The employee, in some cases, is in a position to be invited to service accounts that exist for the company, whereas opposed to in the top two alternatives, you're tending to do the business development yourself. But each of those models has different cultures to it, different psyche to it, different income opportunities to it, different risks to it, and different values to it. For instance, when you own your own business, if you're successful and build it, you have an established value. And when it comes time for you to transition out of it, you sell the business and you have an established value of it. Which kind of leads to the next topic I want to touch on is reasons people tend to make a change. And there's the old scenario of the fear of loss versus the opportunity for gain. And I think that's a benchmark. So what I mean by that is that I talk to a lot of people that look to make change because they have opportunities in their accounts that their current environment doesn't enable them to take advantage of. Maybe they have a need to put a web program technology together, or to do a North American or global account, or they have a need to offer services in both print and promotional products, or they have a need to do an incentive premium and rewards and recognition program. And so sometimes the reasons for change is that their current environment doesn't enable them to take advantage, so it's the opportunity for gain. And in some cases, it's the fear of loss from two perspectives. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday that works for a $14 billion company and a $100 million division of that company. And there's continued downsizing and the prospects that that small division that means more or less nothing for that large company may be sold. And that he's the only one standing at the end of the day. And that's uncomforting for him. So that's more of somebody that's looking for a change because of the fear of the loss. But in our discussions together, when we look at the alternatives review, I seek to have a better understanding of where you want to go, the kinds of relationships, the kinds of clients, the kinds of value propositions you have with those clients. And then part of the assessment is to understand the resources today and on in the future that you have around you, so that you can always be in a position of leading your customers with enhanced levels of service and value. To end this communication off, I want to make it very clear to you that there's no expense to you in any of this. The only investment by you is the time, and only you're the one that can make the decision whether what I'm talking about here has the prospects of helping you get to where you want to go. So I want to offer that there could be three ways that you could respond to this communication. It's my hopes and desires that you'll simply send me a text and say, Alan, let's go into an alternatives review and let's get into an interactive dialogue. Neither one of us need to prepare. It's going to be probing, gathering, learning, and we'll see how it goes. Secondly, if you're not ready to take that step or whatever have you, if you'd like, send me your email to my Gmail address below, and ask me for a copy of the overview. And I have a PDF overview of some of what we would talk about interactively in an alternatives review. And then finally, if it's just not a good time for you right now to start seriously looking at enhancing and preparing for an enhanced future, then I would ask that you just simply save my information, because hopefully, if nothing else, this communication has helped you understand a little bit about me. Hopefully you think a little bit more about me now. And you'll keep this information so that if and when there is a time when some of this makes sense, you won't be shy to reach out to me. So I wish you the best in excelling yourself into the future. Good luck.